gotta go. Yeah, yeah. I'm on a quest. I'm on the road. Just want you to know. Yeah, yeah.
Welcome back to Rum Chats, episode 9. I'm here with my man Dynamic. I'm gonna let him go ahead and introduce himself. So, my dude, please go ahead and let him know who you are.
Yo, man, what up, man? It's D to the Y to the NA on the MIC. It's your favorite light skin, you know what I mean? Ottawa artist out here doing it, radio host, you know, and everything that has to do with the music industry here, man. I'm pretty much there.
Anything media, huh?
Yo, man, that's what it is, man.
I mean, since way back, like I was telling you before we started talking, like we crossed paths quite a few times when you were at CHUO with DJ Live back in the day. And
Yo, that's blessed, Dad. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man, I must have came through a few times as my original moniker, and then with the group B&A, and then as my own solo self. But yeah, I came through quite a few times. I mean, I know you guys had Circa Beats on the 1s and 2s at the time. So
yeah, Circa Beats
it was
has been
during
around,
that.
yeah.
It was during that era.
Okay, dope.
And so what else is new? I know you have a new show. The new it's what is it?
So, I mean, I do a few things. So, you know, still doing Bring Your A Game, which happens Tuesday and Friday nights, 10 p.m. until midnight on CHUO 89.1 FM. And we play all Canadian hip hop, reggae, and R&B. And then definitely hosting on the morning shift, which happens Monday to Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. on CHUO 89.1 FM. And you usually can catch me on a Tuesday or Thursday there now.
Okay. And you're still right up there in the CHUO building?
You know, with COVID and everything, we're doing everything remotely now, right?
Yeah, but in general though, when the COVID's not around, you're still up in the CHUO building like usual?
Oh, definitely.
Find you in the same spot?
Definitely could catch me at the station if COVID wasn't happening right now. I'd be there for sure.
Definitely. And your new co-host is Misha, right? Another artist from the city?
Yeah, Misha co-hosts with me as well. Yeah, for sure. I'm bringing A game.
And how'd that come to fruition?
She's just, you know, very involved in the scene, and you know, we passed our paths crossed a few times, and you know, one time she came by the show, and I pretty much was just like, yo, you're gonna come back and co-host with me, you know, because we had great energy, and she of course jumped on board, and has been nothing but amazing in supporting, you know, what happens to Bring A Game. And you know, we do interviews with artists still, and then co-host remotely, separately, you know, right now through Zoom because of COVID. But you know, once everything's back to normal again, or hopefully closer to, you know, we should be back in the studio doing it again.
Definitely, because I definitely want to get Misha on this mini series as well, because I've checked her music out since I've come back into the scene as a podcaster / YouTuber, not a rapper, but slowly getting back into the groove of the rap scene, but still following it like I'm part of it.
Right.
So I definitely wouldn't mind getting Misha on the show sometime. And what happened with the original you and DJ Live? Was there a falling out, or was it just a mutual separation?
No. Me and DJ Live are still man cool. That's family forever. You know what I mean? And I just ended up moving to Toronto back in 2009. And when I moved to Toronto, you know, I ended up doing radio in Toronto for a while. So there was a, you know, hiatus of almost like 9-10 years that I wasn't, you know, on radio in Ottawa, but I was still on radio just in Toronto. And then I moved back, and you know, it's still love with DJ Live. Everything is blessed, man.
Right, and he was doing a show with Lil Thriller, right?
Yeah, so like when I initially got into radio, it was like in you know, about 2005. It was with DJ Live, and DJ Live was at CKCU at the time. And you know, from there, what happened ideally was I kind of got the show kicked off the air because I shot a music video in the radio station, and I didn't ask anybody's permission to do it. And so we got suspended because somebody broke something at the video shoot, and the station found out about it. Like, we didn't even know about it. Nobody told us about it. And, you know, from there, for like a good 3-4 months, the station wouldn't let us back on air. So, you know, I decided to go over to CHUO and see if I could, get a show happening there. And I was able to get one started there. And I kind of did that to give back a show to DJ Alive because he brought me on his show and I got him kicked off,
Right.
So that was, at first it was the Word Life show in 2005 with Alive. And then from there, we were at CHUO and myself and DJ Alive started the BRL show. And that happened in about 2008, 2009. And then I left, right? Just at not too long after we kind of started it off and got it going because I had to go to Toronto. And so at that point, the BRL show, which stood for, Beats, Rhymes, and Life, or stands for Beats, Rhymes, and Life, was happening. But when I left, there was no co-host for Alive. So, you had a couple special co-hosts on in the midst. And then, of course, Lil Thriller ended up being one of those hosts and he stayed with DJ Alive and they continued to do it. And then they switched the show to, rebranded it to New BRL. Which stood, still for Beats, Rhymes, and Life, but new BRL, and they ran with that all the way until, just a couple, last year or so, or just a year before, right? They
I believe
went off air not too long. So,
and since you've been the first radio personality I've had on either the podcast or on this show itself, because I look at you as a rapper and now as a radio personality as well, because I've known you as both for the amount of time that I have known you in the game. So, for the people who are wanting to do something similar to what you're doing, like college radio and have a show that's hip-hop based, or say hip-hop based with a mix of what I'm doing with the talk on mental health and stuff, how would someone approach that? What advice would you give someone trying to approach that?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do is to reach out to that station and start volunteering, just put in that work. I put in, I was lucky with DJ Alive, to sort of get put on air right away, without having any training or nothing like that, in 2005. And then, when I went over to CHUO, I sort of learned, the grind of volunteering to get, to that place, and so ideally, I volunteered and put in my time for a good 6-7 months before I pitched an idea of having a show, right, with the station, and they seen the work that I was putting in and of course, liked the proposal and I got the show for, the BRL show. And then, when I left and went to Toronto, I did that same thing at CIUT 89.5 in Toronto, which is the University of Toronto radio. And, from there, same idea. I put in some work volunteering, letting them know I was serious about this. And then I pitched the show. They had a stack of shows and people and ideas that people had pitched to them. But because I volunteered at the station, for a good 6-7 months before I made that pitch, they seen all the work, and then they just took my proposal that was probably going to be at the bottom still for a while and put it at the top,
Yeah, because you had your foot in the door already.
I already had my foot in the door, right? So I did that, and and got Bring Your A Game started in Toronto. And then when I came back to Ottawa, it's that it wasn't just oh, boom, I'm back in Ottawa, I'm back on 89.1. I had to approach CHUO once again and be like, hey, I'm back in the city. I got to get my show back on the radio. I'm doing so well in Toronto with it right now. I just want to move it over here. And of course, I showed them what I want to do. And then boom, I ended up being, at CHO and having Bring Your A Game. In 2019, I started that back in Ottawa. And then, so that's continuing. And then in the midst of that, I ended up getting an actual job at the station, right? And physically getting paid to do advertising and so now I sell ads for the station. I'm the promotion coordinator, you know what I mean? And so aside from that, I also do the contributor side of it, and I still, volunteer my time to do Bring Your A Game when I'm doing it, you know what I mean? But it's about putting in that work,
Definitely. I think that's great advice, and I think that's an awesome story. I think the people that watch this episode are really interact with that story and appreciate it. So thanks for letting me know and letting us know that story. And starting out in Ottawa, you started as a hip hop artist, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm 37 years old now. I started at 16 years old on the rapping side of stuff. My pops is a reggae singer. You know, he
I
goes
know.
by the name of Ross Lee. And you know, so growing up for me, it was like music is just, you know, been a everyday thing for me. I grew up around it. You know, my pops used to bring me on stage when I was a little kid, and like I remember, you know, seeing big crowds, you know, going crazy, you know, for my pops, and it's like, you know, he was a Juno, you know, he still is. He's Juno nominated, you know, artist, or you know, for reggae, best reggae recording or something like way back in the day. Like
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
even know. I wasn't even like alive, or maybe I've been like one or two at the time, you know. But
yeah.
I've just been in, you know, kind of in the music since a baby, you know.
And,
And at the age of 16, I decided, you know, I was going to start rapping. I had a terrible rhyme. Um, I think it was like Bad Mama Mulatto got more drama than the Sopranos or something like that. It was horrible. And you
sounds
know,
all right.
terrible compared to where I'm at now. And
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
man, you know, just you know the progression and being at it, and I just stuck with it. So like from the age of 16, I've been in music, but you know, I've also been lucky enough to be involved in many other things like event promotion, and you know, I also do an annual hip hop food drive for the last, you know, 6 years now. We're going on year 7.
thanks
Um,
for that.
yeah, I appreciate that, bro. And yeah, man, you know, just trying to do what I can to give back to, you know, the community, being it helping, you know, put on artists that may not have a chance to get their music heard. Just like when I was 16 years old, you know what I mean? Like I was going to these radio stations, CKCU and CHUO, and you know, asking the DJs to play my songs, and so you know, and getting my music played. And so now that I can do that same thing, you know, and have a platform for artists to be able to get on. But not only that, continue to be able to give back to the community. You know, I'm also part of Cranium Festival, you know, and we're going into our 3rd year this year. So there's, you know, there's just a lot of work that I put in the music scene. And
You
you know,
do.
it's not necessarily like financially uh amazing yet. You know what I mean? But you got to put in work to get where you want to get to, and it's the same idea of, you know, all the volunteering that I've done, you know, to be able to get a job at the station, you know, and then and I'm talking like over a decade of volunteering. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
it's not
then
always overnight like
it's
people.
not an overnight grind. You know what I mean? And so, you know, when it comes down to like my passion for radio and, you know, everything about it, like I put in that work to get there, you know, and I'm still putting in that work when it comes down to music, to get to a certain point where, you know, it's going to be lucrative, and the money's going to be coming in continuously, you know, just off music. So you got to do a little bit of everything right now, but you know, I'm working on it.
Word. I'm trying to do the same thing with the podcast and the YouTube content and things like that, but I'm slowly and slowly but surely getting back into the grooves of getting a hustle on, and
Yeah, and you know, and one thing I've learned, you know, in all these, you know, as much as I've been over this, you know, 2 decades now, you know, I actually got this line from this new record I'm working on, um, and I say 2 decades plus. Who said they us? You know what I mean? And it's like I put in a lot of work when it comes down to creating and writing. So I've
yeah,
perfected that. You know what I mean? Like my
for
pen
real.
game is crazy, even though I don't actually use a pen anymore. But my pen, my pen game is crazy, right? And when
Oh,
it
you
comes,
some old shit.
and I mean, I used to be like that, but I'm just talking about a lot of time I'm like using my phone nowadays, right, to write in.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but when it comes down to how much time you put in, like I put in a lot of time perfecting the writing side of it, and now it's about perfecting the business side of it, you know, and making that financially good for the future, you know. And now I've just actually, my manager now is Patrick McCormack Jugga from Boogaloo Tribe. So you know, we're
Yeah, I
working
know Pat
together.
McCormick through my older brother. They know each other, so
Yeah, man. So you know, it's just about working and continuing to do so, you know, and
so
going down different lanes.
like I just wanted to interject because you brought up how your father is a very well-known musician. How is your father doing, and how is your mother doing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, everybody like health wise, you know, things happen, but they're still around, you know, still surviving.
Well, God bless. I just wanted to send out my well wishes during these tough times. So
sure, man. I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, and does your father still make music?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's continuously still making music. Um, for my pops, he's one of those people. He's like a performer, so he's always performing. And COVID
Yeah.
obviously coming into play kind of ruined that game right now. So he's not performing a lot right now, but he's definitely still creative.
Yeah, because I know that you've had him on at least one song I've heard, right?
Yeah, we released one like actual record together, and then I have an upcoming record actually coming out real soon with him as well.
Right. So the record that I did hear you both on, what was that called again? Because that was a few
Uh,
years back, right?
Be with you.
That was a dope record, man. I could
Oh,
feel the connection, the family connection on that vibe was real. I could feel that.
that's
So,
dope, man.
so when I saw you two connect, I just saw two like local, well recognized, well rounded musicians come together on a track, and then being family. It was a touching thing to see that you both put your creative minds together to show what your family can do creatively. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to put a note out on that. So anybody to go check that out, I'd recommend that for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. And when we're talking like family and stuff, a lot of people don't even know it, but I also got like a brother who's into music and acting, and he goes by the name of Ish Morris, Ish Morris, and he's got some dope music, man. And he's definitely somebody like musically that inspires me still, with the music stuff too.
Yeah.
So go check him out. And then also I got a cousin in Jamaica who's also inspiring me with this, and he's way younger, and he goes by the name of Sparrow Blacks, SPAROBLAXX. Such a dope artist, and yeah, so the family is like musically, there.
Man, I'd love to
It's
have
crazy.
every one of them on the show if I could get an opportunity to do and you could help me out. I'd love to have each one of them on the show, man.
Yeah, I'd let them know for sure, man.
I appreciate that. And I also know that you got your daughter coming up. I see her on those records you're posting on Facebook, bro.
Yeah, she's got bars already,
No, I
we're,
think I
we're
think she might
working.
overtake you quick, bro. I think
Yeah,
Quest gonna start producing for her.
100%. I hope so.
So before we end all this conversation, and I really appreciate it again, we having this conversation. You sent me that track on a Quest, produced by Quest, and that was from a project that y'all did, right?
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. You called it On a Quest. The project is called On a Quest. It's all Quest beats, so it's On a Quest. And
I figured.
yeah, and the whole record itself is the way me and Quest work. What's great about it is we do a lot of the stuff like literally on the spot. So he'll be making the beat, and while he's making the beat, I'm writing the lyrics. And so we did that project that way. 8 tracks were killed off. We did 8 visuals for the project as well. And then, when it comes down to the new work that I'm doing with Quest, we actually kept that idea and theme of doing it on the spot. And we, for the last couple of weeks have been connecting via Instagram, like going
I've
live.
seen that. I
And
was just gonna bring that up
yeah,
actually.
and just writing, the songs on the spot. So that's been pretty dope, and just kind of getting me back into the zone of writing. Because with everything happening with COVID, like I haven't performed in over a year, which is insane to me because I've been performing since I've been 16 years old. You know what I mean? So to
Yeah.
perform for like a good 20 years, and then all of a sudden you can't do what you've done all your life. It's pretty insane, and people don't talking about mental health, like that stuff
Yeah,
starts
man.
to weigh in on you, because that's
It
a
is.
release for me. You
It's
know what I
hurting.
mean?
Not only is it a release, but it is hurting the pockets a little financially for some
Yeah.
rappers and other
Yeah,
rappers.
100%. I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of money during this pandemic, from hosting events to performing, myself or whatever. And but aside from that, because I've never been about, the money thing. Like obviously you gotta love money, and I love getting money. And I'm not gonna be one of those people that's like, I'm not about the money because you're not making money. Like I make money from this, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I'm not actually here for the money. You know what I mean? So
I know
for
what you're
me,
saying.
the release of it, like this is therapy for me. You know what I mean? So to not be able to still, do get your therapy out of it because of COVID is messed up, right? Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right, so I think we'll end it there until we reconnect for you coming on the podcast.
It's been hard, but I make it look easy. I gotta go, yeah, yeah. If you only live once, will I see you in the end? Yeah, I wanna know, yeah, yeah. Cause I'm on a quest, I'm on the road, so I gotta go, yeah, yeah. I'm on a quest, I'm on the road, just want you to know, yeah, yeah. When I'm on the road, yeah, I'm all alone. I answer your call when I'm on the phone. Hello? If I call you back and I get the tone, when we talk again, it's a different tone. But we gon' make it better when I get back. All those minor things, it's a setback. We can't waste no time, we don't get that back. If we can't fix it, fine, we can let that pass. Cause I've been on my grind since I came on. I'm hearing what you're saying, it's a sane song. But I ain't got no time for that, the day's long. If you ain't got no love, get your hate on, yeah. It's been hard, but I make it look easy. I gotta go, yeah, yeah. If you only live once, will I see you in the end? Yeah, I wanna know, yeah, yeah. Cause I'm on a quest, I'm on the road, so I gotta go, yeah, yeah. I'm on a quest, I'm on the road, just want you to know, yeah, yeah. I'm on a quest, I'm on the road, I gotta flex, I gotta go. With all the stress, I cannot hold. Without success, I cannot fall. I am the best, I'm from the O. They cannot test, they didn't know that I am blessed, that I am blessed, that I am blessed, yeah. Got out of my mind, I lost it, I find all of the time. You follow the sign, they calling you blind. I'm not gonna lie, I'm stopping my kind from all of the shine. I'ma do me on the road, I'ma do me and I know I'ma do me when I go. So no, don't pick up your phone. Cause we all got choices, but I hear voices playing in my head, yeah, yeah. And I can't ignore them, I'm trying to fight them and I do what they say, yeah. But it's been hard, but I make it look easy. I gotta go, yeah, yeah. If you only live once, will I see you in the end? Yeah, I wanna know, yeah, yeah. Cause I'm on a quest, I'm on the road, so I gotta go, yeah, yeah. I'm on a quest, I'm on the road, just want you to know, yeah, yeah. I think I lost my mind, but that's just me. I think I'm doing fine, but that's just me. I do it all the time, cause that's just me. You'll see, yeah. I think I lost my mind, but that's just me. I think I'm doing fine, but that's just me.